All right, let's do it. Here we go. Will it smash? Ah, oh, that was a good chunk. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, check this out. Oh man, Kevin, grab the camera. This is gonna be sweet. Hey there, rock stars. Michael Stone here, out and about. The weather has finally cleared up here in Northern California and things are looking gorgeous. It's gonna be a short while until spring, and I'm pretty excited to get back out there and show you some awesome geology. Today though, I have this rock right here. So I've had this rock for a while now, and I collected it because it looked interesting, but honestly, I don't know what kind of rock it is. And that's, that's perfectly okay. The best part about being a geologist, just being curious about rocks and geology, is that you don't need to know what all the rocks are. The tools are there in the science to apply a certain framework, a certain number of tests to find out what this rock could be. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do a few tests on this rock, find out what it might be, and kind of see if we can figure out what this mystery rock is. And if worst comes to worst, we'll just smash it. So there's that, I guess. I don't know. So the first thing that we're going to want to do when we have a rock like this is we're going to want to just look at it as best we can on the surface here. And what's really difficult about this rock is it's been so tumbled around and knocked around that the outside surface isn't really telling us much about this rock. Well, it's telling us that the rock was, probably in a stream or a river for a long time, and that it got pushed around and moved around a lot. But other than that, it's hard to tell exactly what kind of rock it is just by looking at it on the outside. We need to look very carefully to be able to tell. And that's where, being able to crack a rock open with a rock hammer, like I've got here, can tell us a lot about this rock and what it might look like when it has an uneroded fresh face. But before we do that, I want to take a closer look at the information we can kind of suck out of this rock just by holding this rock here right now. And the first thing we're going to figure out is the relative hardness of this rock. There is a scale that measures the hardness of rocks from 1 being the weakest all the way to 10 being the hardest rock there is. That's a diamond. That's the hardest possible substance that we know of. And this rock is somewhere in between those two numbers there, unless it's a giant chunk of diamond, in which case I just hit the jackpot and I'll see you all later, but it's probably not a diamond. And first thing you're gonna wanna do to find out relative hardness of a rock like this is take your finger and pick your nose. No, is take your finger and just scratch the rock. Scratch it. You can see here that my fingernail isn't really doing much of anything to this rock. Fingernails are pretty weak. They're about a 2.5 on a scale of 1 out of 10 on the Mohs hardness scale. And so the next step after that is we're going to want a piece of steel or iron, like a nail. A nail is a perfect example. And the nail will let us know if it's going to be higher than about a 6.5, a 6.5 on the scale there. So if I take and I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting any scratches there. So we know that this rock is higher than a 6.5 out of 10 on the Mohs hardness scale. And that tells us a lot. We've ruled out a lot of rocks right there just by knowing how hard this rock is, which is a very key piece of information that we're gonna need to use later to find out what it is. Remember kids, you can pick your nose, you can pick your rock, but you can't pick your rock's nose. Because I knows that rocks don't have noses. So we have a general idea of the hardness of this rock now. And that's going to be very helpful for us. The next step that we're going to want to see though is going to be the luster, how this rock reacts in the light, how it kind of shines there, and also the cleavage. get your heads out of the gutter. That's not that kind of cleavage. It's specifically how this rock fractures, because the minerals in this rock are going to break in very specific ways to that kind of mineral, and that can tell us what this rock is as well. And for that, we're gonna have to smash it. But before I do that, always remember your safety glasses. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Will it smash? Whew. All right, all right. Ha! Whew. All right, it's kind of smashing, but not really. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, excellent. Wow, look at that. Man, that is some cool stuff. One of the things you're gonna wanna notice, take a look first at the luster. We kind of shine it on the light here, and it's kind of dull. It's not like really shiny. It's not like really catching the light and reflecting it like a mirror. It's not very clear. You can't see through it like glass. What this rock looks like is like when you take a piece of soap and you leave a piece of soap out. So I'm gonna call it soapy. Soapy luster is an actual description for rocks when, you know, it's kind of dull. It kind of has a dull shine to it. It's not really shiny, but it resembles soap. That's the best word that geologists have for it, so we call it soapy. The next thing we're going to look at is the fracture here, the cleavage, excuse me, and the cleavage is just how this rock is fractured. And you can see that taking a close look here, there really isn't that much of a pattern to the way this rock is fractured. There's a bunch of jagged edges, but there's one specific detail that I really want to point out here on this side, and you can see conchoidal fracture in this rock, which you'll recall we discussed last month in the obsidian smash video, where we smashed that obsidian, and obsidian forms those ripples, which are literally just shockwave ripples as the shockwave courses through this rock and fractures it, because quartz doesn't have a set organization to its atomic structure, to its atoms. It's just going to break along that preferred line. So there's not going to be an angle or a order to the way it breaks. It's just going to have those conchoidal fractures here. And the way this is fracturing off, it's not going to be exactly the same as obsidian, but it looks like it does have a conchoidal fracture, which, my friends, points to this rock being pretty much 100% quartz, because because obsidian and all the other rocks, including glass, pure glass, that have conchoidal fracture are made of quartz, silica. So this is a kind of quartz. In order to find out exactly what kind, though, we're going to want to look into a little more details of this rock here. This rock looks like a kind of cryptocrystalline quartz, which, if you recall, we've covered before with the chert video. But this isn't quite chert. This doesn't quite look the same as the oceanic chert that we've seen before. This looks like a different, new kind of cryptocrystalline quartz. Now, recall, cryptocrystalline quartz is formed by microscopic quartz grains. So there are a bunch of really tiny little quartz crystals in here that form this larger kind of amorphous crystal face. And one of the other ways that we can get cryptocrystalline quartz is through volcanic precipitation of quartz. That's right, and this is called a jasper. Jasper is different from chert because it is specifically formed with associated volcanic processes. And that's how you get that kind of luster, that kind of shape to it, but it's still going to have that characteristic conchoidal fracture, which is really, really cool. So we've done it. I think we've solved the mystery here. But you know what? I'm not quite satisfied just yet. I think we need to finish this rock off. I think we need to finish what we started. So let's do it. Oh, damn. it's really hard. And so that tells us, you know, after what we figured out earlier, that this rock is about a 7 on the hardness scale, which is pretty hard. It's up there. Whew, something about that smell, I'll tell you what. This is really, really scary to do when you're holding it in your hand, let me tell you. So I really don't recommend doing that at home. But, you know, I'm a professional, so trust me. Come on. By the power of Greystone. Thunder. Thunder. Thunderstone. Oh, that was a good chunk. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Check this out. Oh, man, Kevin, grab the camera. This is gonna be sweet. Wow, this was totally unexpected, man. That's what you get for having a mystery rock, guys. Check this out. Look at that. And so this is a pretty gosh darn good sign that we have a volcanic jasper. You see, these voids here form in the rock naturally, and as the rest of this fills in, this is the last little bit that forms, and it forms this little chamber that slowly precipitates these smaller crystals out of it, creating this beautiful geode. That is absolutely amazing, and I never expected to find that in this rock. That is so cool. Look at that. All right, rock stars, so there you have it. The mystery of the mystery rock has been cracked. Quite literally into a beautiful surprise. That is something I did not expect. That's super, super cool. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a few things about how to identify some rocks out there. Let me know what you'd like to see smashed next, as always, and have a great rest of your day, rock stars. And of course, remember to smash that subscribe button. We'll check you next time.
And like and comment.
Like and comment too, please.